Hello friends, welcome to the ASP .NET Core tutorial series. In this video, we will discuss request processing pipeline in ASP .NET Core application. So let's understand how the request process in ASP .NET Core web application. So in the previous tutorial, we have seen the middleware in ASP .NET Core, and we have seen like the middleware is the main part of the ASP .NET Core application, and that is used to handle the request and the response of ASP.NET Core application. In this video, we will see like how this request and response is handled via the middleware. So the ASP.NET Core request processing pipeline is consist of the sequence of middleware component that are going to be called one after the other. For an example, like in the startup.cs class, if we have the multiple middleware, then how this middleware process and how it call one after the other. So that we are going to see in this tutorial. And the middleware component in ASP.NET Core has access to both the incoming request and the outgoing response. That we are going to see in this tutorial. And each middleware component can perform some operation before and after invoking the next component using the next method. So that next method we are going to see in this tutorial as well. And a middleware component can also decide not to call the next middleware component, which is called short circuit the request pipeline. So these are the main topics which we are going to cover, and this is the main key point that is done by the middleware of ASP.NET Core. So let's go to the Visual Studio. In this Visual Studio, we are going to talk with the previous application which we have created called ASP.NET Core with basic. And startup.cs class is a middleware class for the ASP.NET Core application. And here we can see like this startup.cs class have two middleware in the pipeline. If we will see here, it contains two middleware pipeline. One is the use developer exception page, and another we can see the run method. So as the name says, like this use developer exception page is basically used to handle the exception at the development time. We can see like this middleware is called when this application is running on the development mode. So we will discuss about this exception page middleware in the coming tutorial. So in this tutorial, we will more focus over this run middleware method. So this is the second middleware that is registered using the run method, we can see, and it only write a message to the response object. And at the moment, this is the middleware that respond to very request. Doesn't matter like what is your request path. Like if we are writing a normal text or we are printing any data using the HTML file, it doesn't matter for this one. It always write the output into the response object. The response is can be a plain text, as I explained, like hello world, or it or not the HTML. And we can see it using like while creating a one static class as a CSS class or the HTML file we can create, and we can see that part we are going to see in the coming tutorial. In this tutorial, we will focus like how this request pipeline works in middleware or in the ASP.NET Core application. So basically, like when we will hover on this run method, we can see this run method is accepting a request delegate handler. So let's go to the definition of this run. When you will click on this run and press F12, and it take the definition, and we can see here it is accepting one request delegate handler. And we are using this run method to add middleware to our application request processing pipeline. This run method is basically implemented as an extension method of iApplication Builder. This is the reason we are able to invoke this run method on the iApplication Builder object. Like when we go back and here we can see like this, we can run over this iApplication Builder, and the parameter that we are passing to the run method is the request delegate, as I explained. And this request delegate is basically a delegate that has HTTP context object as a parameter, and this is through the HTTP context object, the middleware gain access to both the incoming HTTP request and outgoing response, like HTTP response. So let's F12 to this one again, and when we will expand to this one. So the main agenda of this, like when you will F12 to this also, HTTP request delegate, we can see it is contain the HTTP context, and because of that only this run method is give us the functionality to handle the request and response of the ASP.NET Core application. So at point of this time, let's run this application and see what it will print to the browser. And as of now, it will print as a hello world. So let's see like what it print on the browser, and we can see like here it is printing as a hello world here. So let's close it. Now what I will do, I will create another middleware. So what I will do, I'll just copy this one, and here I will paste it like app.run async context. So let's hit enter, and here same I will print, and here I'm going to write a message called hello world 1. Now let's run this application. We'll see like what it will print on the browser. So once we run this application, we will see on the browser like it is not calling to the second middleware. We will see only hello world, like we are not able to see the next message. And the reason like why we are not able to see the second middleware response is because a middleware that is registered using the run method, and it doesn't call the next middleware in the pipeline. So the middleware that we registered using the run method is terminal middleware. And like terminal middleware, what is the meaning of the terminal middleware is like it doesn't call the next middleware, that is called the terminal middleware. So if we want to call the second middleware, then what we have to use, we have to use the use method instead of run method. So this use method we have to use it, and with that use method, like what we have to use, the next parameter we have to pass it as a next parameter. So here we have to pass the next parameter here, and with that we have to write it the await next method. So like you can see here, use method has two parameters. The first parameter is the HTTP context object, and second parameter is the func type. Like when you will hover on this one, we can see it's a func type, and it means like it's a generic delegate. Like we know the type of the delegate, so func is a generic delegate, the type of the delegate, and like it represents the middleware of the pipeline. So at point of this time, like when we will run this application, so what it will do, it will call, it will not stop here, it will call to the next middleware, and the next middleware is here, and we have used it run method here. So it will run till here. So let's what I will do at point of this time, I will take another run method as well, and here I will write hello world 2. Now let's run this application, see on the browser what we see. So when we run this application, what output we will see? We will see the output as a hello world and hello world 1, and it is not printing for hello world 2 because here we have used the run method, and till here it will give the response, it will not give the another response. If instead of this run, if I will use the use method, and with that I use the generic method called next, and I use it like await next, and when I run this application, so then we will see all these three output like as a hello world 1 and hello world 2. So this is the way this middleware request processing happen. So now let's understand how purely it works in ASP.NET Core application. So for an example, we will do some modification to the application, and we will see how the request and the response works in ASP.NET Core application. So now let's understand, like in the ASP.NET Core request processing pipeline, how the execution works in ASP.NET Core application. So what I'm going to change, I'm going to do some modification, and here I will write like middleware 1 request, and same I will copy, and here I will put as a response, and here I will copy and paste. Here I will write like middleware 2 request, and here I will print as a middleware 2 response. So this modification I have done, and here I will make some changes to here as well, as a middleware 3 request. So at the time of the run method, I have taken only the request, not the response. Now at point of this time, let's run this application and we'll see like how it is printing on the browser. So when I run this application, we'll see like what it is printing. So we can see here like it is printing as a middleware 1 request, middleware 2 request, middleware 3 request. Then it is printing middleware 2 response, and then middleware 1 response. So for understanding better, what I will do, I will close and I will make a small change to the application. So what I will do, I will print like n, and here I will do, and this I will make changes to every request and response message. Now let's run this application, see on the browser. Okay. So we have removed this one. Let's put this. Now let's run this application, and now we will see the output what we are getting here. So as a here what we have done, we have like first we are taking as a request middleware request, then response, then request, then response, and for the third middleware we have the request, not the response. But in the output window, what we see, like first we are getting all these 3 requests, then response we are getting as a middleware 2 response, and then middleware 1 response. So how this works, this is the like process of like request processing pipeline of the ASP.NET Core application. So to understand it, let's go to the slide back, and from this MSDN graph, like what we can see like from this diagram, like when we have the incoming HTTP request comes, like from the middleware 1, when the request comes, so first it is received by the first middleware component, otherwise means like middleware 1, which like what it log the middleware 1 incoming request and in the response stream. So as a result, first we see the incoming request, and once the first middleware log the information, then it call the next method. Like when we go to the Visual Studio, then what it do, it call the next method, in the sense like it call the next middleware, and then it come to the next middleware, it print this request message, and then it call again to the next middleware, and then we come to this like next middleware, and once we come to the like third middleware, here what it do, it print this response this request response to the log. This middleware component is registered using the run extension method, we can see here. So it is a terminal component. So from this point the request pipeline start reversing. That means like from this middleware the control is giving back to the second middleware, means here to the second middleware, and the second middleware log the information as a response, and then it go back to the first middleware and it log to the like first this middleware 1 response. So this is the way how this execution process works in ASP.NET Core application. So this is the basically a way of processing, like using what is the use of the use method and the run method in the ASP.NET Core application. In the coming tutorial, we will see like how we call the static files in the ASP.NET Core application. Like as of now, currently we can see like it is printing only the text message, plain text message. But if we want to call any static files like as a HTML file or the CSS file, then how the behavior of this application when we call the static file or into the ASP.NET Core application. So that's it for this tutorial. If you have any question and doubt, please comment. Thank you.